Good,
Hi.
good,
On today's show, we have a special guest. Good morning.
Good morning.
good morning. Things that we need to do, and her being a professional, she knows. Like you gotta fill out those forms.
We are helping people on journeys to get to that next destination, whatever that may be. Not knowing where to begin is the biggest part of failure because you stand stuck. So we're giving you a starting point.
But you have to trust the process. I'm Renee.
Hey, I'm Anna. And I'm Leslie. And we are the trio.
Okay, we should be able to get started now.
We still have the welcome.
Yeah, it's just a picture, and there we go.
Okay, there we go.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everyone. Morning, trio. Good morning to our special guest. We're gonna get started. Had a little
Good
technical
morning.
difficulty there.
Good morning, everyone. This morning we have a special guest, and we're so excited to have Pastor Darlene Thorne here with us. She's a co-mentor, and the reason this um, invitation was extended to her is we are part of the 1212 community together. And we had an assignment that we've been working on, and it was her turn to go up. We actually had our meeting the night before. We already had our show planned out, and then she went first with her assignment. And in the middle of hearing her speak, it made sense to have Dr. Darlene come on board and help us wrap out the series of caregiving through the holidays. Pastor Darlene, could you take over?
Oh my. Well, hello, everyone. I want to say Anna, Renee, and Leslie. First of all, I count it a privilege to be here in the space with the trio. You all are amazing ladies in your own right and the things that God has given to you. And I just count it a privilege to be able to hang out with you all. Um, as your caregiver's co mentor, I've been called to walk alongside caregivers as they are navigating through the waters of caring for a loved one. And one of the things I realized is this is that caregiving goes beyond just taking someone to the doctor or making sure that they have a meal. Caregiving is soul care, and it's caring for their souls as well as caring for their own souls. And one thing I learned throughout my journey is that if we do not do like they tell us, put on your mask first
Mhm.
and then take care of someone else, we run the risk of not fulfilling our total God given assignment. And we ourselves can find ourselves being resentful, angry, um, withdrawing, isolating, all of these things because we become weary, we become tired, we experience caregivers fatigue, And when we do those types of things, the only person that really suffers is us. That's
Absolutely.
the person that suffers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm gonna ask you ladies a little bit of your stories, and let's see how we can tie all this together and know that the importance of what we do during the holidays to take care of ourselves. Because I know that each of us has an individual story, just as those who are listening have their own individual stories. Let's let's start there, and then we can wrap this in a beautiful Christmas bow. So I will go back. Let's start up with Miss Renee. I
Okay.
love your hair.
Thank you.
I do. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. So, okay. How did I become a caregiver? Um, well, I've started caregiving with my oldest son, and he had some medical needs when he was born, and that it's kind of started from there. And then I moved on to becoming a caregiver for my mom. In 2015, she had a stroke, and in I think 2017, I moved in to with her and my dad. My dad was like, he was fine, but my mom was she was needing some more support, and one we have to definitely at some point talk about the caregiving between spouses and how that weight is something I don't know if it gets enough attention as it should, because my grandparents also were caregivers for each other, and I think that my grandfather, he became a caregiver for his wife. But anyway, I was able to come in and help out with mom, and then um, just understanding how being a caregiver is, there's an honor there, that is just, it's an opportunity. It's I get to this, there's a song that says I get to love you. And that's like a song for me from both of my parents, because I can say, as of now, they've both gone to heaven, but my song that's in my heart, and it's a song that says I get to love you. I got to love them. I got to serve them. I was able to um be a caregiver in their life, but also after they went home, I am better. I'm strong. It's a process, of course, but I think my message now is for caregivers is to also make sure that you have life, that there's life for you, because to say that that's my whole life, and when they went to heaven that I went to heaven but I'm still here on earth, well, then there's a whole nother situation there. So I'm not going to take any more time. That's my tidbit of my story.
Yeah, see, that's what I want. I really wanted to hear that because that is so critical. You talked about how you cared for your parents. And sometimes in caring for our loved ones, we lose sight of ourselves. And we say, had you ever remembered yourself saying, we're going to get dressed now. We're getting ready to go in the kitchen to eat. Let's go to the bathroom now. We became enmeshed with those we were caring for, as opposed to, Mom, Dad, do you feel like you need to use the restroom now? Are you ready to eat now? Our the things that we speak out of our mouths are very
Mm.
critical to how we see ourselves as caregivers. When we become enmeshed with the person we're caring for, that is a part of how we lose sight of the separation between them and us. And so we find ourselves doing everything for them because we are them, as opposed to what they do is what they do, and what we do is what we do. As we are going through these holidays, I would like to invite us to do that one thing. Think about the conversation that you have with the one you're caring for. Do you find
Mm.
yourself saying us and we when you're really talking about them? And if we were to take the time to reframe our conversation, we will be able to slowly but surely find ourselves again. I'm going to pop over to see Lady Leslie. And can you share with us a part of your story?
Thank you, Pastor Darlene. Good morning to everyone. Um, Part of my story began with an uncle of mine who was retired from the Army, traveled and lived in different, in Georgia, Florida. But as he got older, a family that he embraced, somebody became his godchild or his grandchild. So he embraced that family. And as he got, funds were getting limited, he couldn't supply things that he would normally supply to his family. Um, they wanted to have him shipped. So
Mhm.
they called me. We had him flown here, and I started the caregiving, just jumping right in. He's a veteran. He wanted to be in a veterans facility. The Lord blessed because we were able to get him into one. But that began my journey of caregiving. I've been a person in my family who has been a go to. How do I do this? Where do I get this? How do I, tell me how to do this? And so that was always kind of innate in me to be one to provide service to people, answer questions, research information. And it was challenging. Um, but as you say, you love on the person. You, he, I love my uncle. It brought my uncle, my mom, and my aunt together. Um, and I ended up not only caring for him, but being a caregiver to my aunt, one of my aunts, and my mom, and also supporting other family members with caregiving. And the journey has been almost lifelong because I'm still in some capacity doing that with other, um, with people that I know outside of the family, but still are considered family. And with that, it gave me tools on what people need, handling bank accounts, handling getting paperwork in order. And as a part of that, that's why we're here today in this capacity of the trio. What you said is important, the conversations and how you're treating the person. It is a pleasure, it's a privilege, even though it can be hard, but it's an assignment. Our parents birthed us, took care of us. So the role, it becomes an exchange. That's hard for some people to realize. Um, Such and such was always handled their business there that way. So they should be able to handle going to the doctors on their own. life changes you, right? And people need support, and we have to be sensitive to the support that people need, um, and just kind of sit back and look at, how do I want someone to treat me when I'm at a point where I can't take care of myself. So that's a little bit about my story. Thank you for allowing me to share that.
Absolutely. You said some very pivotal things and very important things. You talked about how you just jumped in, that you didn't sign up for that. It's not like you woke up one day and said, "Hey, let me just go and be the caregiver for all these folk and let me just do this." It came because, first of all, because of who you are and what's been placed inside of you and what they knew about you. There were some qualities that you had and still have, but they saw the qualities and they're like, uh, this right here is not working. And you became the person, the go-to person. And now you're not only the go-to person for one person, but it became another person and another person and another person. And even in that, though you may enjoy doing it, though it may almost come easy to you, it's still imperative that you are able to take a step back and recognize that this is not the totality of who I am. And so, as I'm listening to you talk about bank accounts and you talk about who's going to do certain things, I also think about this prevention.
Mm-hmm.
Do the work ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
When have you prepared?
Right. Yep.
Not just prepared, but
Mm-hmm.
prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Did we think about who was going to handle our bank account? If we own a home, do we have a living trust?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have we set it up correctly so that it doesn't have to go through probate?
Yep.
Have we thought about these things? And some of those conversations can be the most tenuous because we don't want to talk about those things. When my husband and I, long time ago, when my husband started a particular job, we were encouraged to make sure you have a will. We had no children. At the time, we didn't have a house. We were living in an apartment and we were looking for a house, but didn't have a house yet. And they said, you need to have a will. Okay, what? And we got the will. We did a blanket, just a basic will. But then as time went on, we had a house, we had two children, and they said, time to update your will. So when we updated the will, we're sitting with the lawyer, and this is what the lawyer said. I need for you to tell me what you want to happen if you go. I need for you to tell me what happens if your husband goes. I need you to tell me what happens if one of your children go. And he went through down every scenario of how we could possibly leave this earth. And he said, it is important that we put these things in writing because it could happen any of these ways, and you want to be prepared. So when we talk about caregiving, especially the ones that we don't sign up for, and I'm going to get to mine in just a minute, when we talk about it, we've got to think about those things that we prepared for and the things that we did not prepare for. And we have an opportunity, even today, to take a look at what things are done and what things have not yet been done so that we can be at peace, so that when there is a transition of any kind, you've already kind of gotten your ducks in a row and things are already in place. And that also takes a load off the caregiver because all they have to do is go to that drawer because everything's been done. So I'm gonna thank you, Leslie and
Thank
Renee.
you. That was perfect. That just
You ladies are just so amazing.
follows a couple of things that we're doing. So you just reiterate and just confirm the reasons for that. So we love it. Thank you.
Oh, this is so good, so good. All right, Miss Anna.
Thank you so much for being with us this morning. My caregiving journey started as a little girl, actually, because I was the first American born child in the family. So I was the one who had to attend appointments, make calls so that I can translate. And this journey, I have to say, started when I was maybe 9, 10 years old. So it wasn't per se taking care of everything, but I was the translator and making sure that the information was communicated and understood. So if something was given to me by a doctor or at the Social Security office, I had to make sure that when I translated, I also explained it so that they knew how to respond or knew what they needed to do next. Fast forward, that being part of the journey as my parents and my aunts got older and they needed appointments, I became in charge of that. If someone wasn't feeling well, I became their confidant. I know things about the elders in the family that their children don't know. And if something is happening, their children know to reach out to me, even if they live in the same house, but they know to reach out to me to find out what's going on. Uh, my true caregiving journey started when my husband was diagnosed with lymphoma and navigating the healthcare world, the insurance needing referrals, waiting in a doctor's office for 2 hours for the referral, finding a provider that takes the insurance, finding a provider that the insurance is okay with administering the treatments, and keeping communication lines open. And when he went into the hospital for his final time before he transitioned, that journey was very daunting. He did not do well because he didn't feel it was necessary. He felt he had all the time in the world. But things happened so quickly within a year from being diagnosed to when he transitioned and struggling to find the information. And like you said, everything was we're going to do this now. I became one with him in this journey, and it did take a lot. Uh, I was in school. I was going to school, going to chemo treatment with him, making sure his family was kept abreast on what was going on, um, helping those who needed to get to the hospital to see him get there, whether it was making calls because I didn't have a vehicle at the time. So it was a eye opener. The journey of caregiving became very real. I always thought I was a caregiver, but in that moment in time, I understood the true meaning of being a caregiver. It wasn't just about being a mother, it wasn't about being a spouse at that moment. It was about really diving in and handling every single thing in that person's life. And it transitioned over to my father and so on and so forth. When things happen now, I just kind of want to say the questions come instantly, and the next steps I'm seeing 10 steps ahead. But it was something that was assigned to me from childhood because of language.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. When I listened to you share your story, you started when you were 9 and caring for your parents in terms of translating. and making sure that they understood everything. Now, at 9 years old, I applaud you because at 9, you're translating words and stuff that was beyond you.
Yes.
But because of your love for your parents and because of the fact that you could do the translating, you were doing these things, and it started something that took you all through your adulthood. And that was preparation for when your husband, uh, when he got sick. But a lot of times we don't realize that there have been things that happened in our lifetime that truly prepared us for where we are today and what we're doing. Something I wanted to encourage you with is I also see, not to take away from Renee's story or from Leslie's story, but I'm drawn to what you're saying, where you started at 9 and now you are the age that you are. That sounds good, doesn't it?
I like that.
You're the age that you are. There have been times that I know that you had become tired. And so, one of the things I believe that is so important for us as caregivers is that we uh, take time to recalibrate, that we take time to refresh ourselves, that we take time, that we steal away and we just do some things, like whatever it is that's going to bring you some peace. And one of those things is taking a nap. I wore my shirt on purpose today, so I wanted to share this with you. You want to do this, and I think you can see this. Yes, I'm going to stand up just a little bit. You want to do this. Necessary, applied, peace.
I like that.
It is important as caregivers that there is necessary, applied peace. Because when we don't take the time to steal away and to be rejuvenated, be refreshed, there can be those spaces and places where we become resentful, angry, um, all of the things that we know we don't want, because we love our parents, we love our loved ones, we love them. But why do we get so frustrated? Why do we get so angry? Why do we get so because we have not taken the time to, okay, y'all, I love y'all. I'm putting myself in timeout, and I'm going in the bathroom and I'll be back in 10 minutes. Or I'm going to go stand in the corner.
It's
Because
important. It's important. Yeah.
isn't that important?
It's
Very important.
Very
That's so
important.
so very important, so that we can maintain our sanity. Because when we lose ourselves in our loved ones, when we lose ourselves in the day-to-dayness of taking care of them, we run that risk of, again, as I mentioned from the very beginning, when we lose us, it can cause us to now look at what we're doing as something I got to do instead of I get to do. And every day it should be, I get to serve. I get to be, for me, I get to be with my husband every day. And so let me just kind of, now that everyone else has shared, I guess it's time for me to share my story with you all, right?
Yes.
I'm not going to be selfish. Well, it was November 15th in 2019 when I was going to go to get my hair done, as I do every other Friday. That was in our budget. I take care of my hair. And so I'm calling out to my husband and I'm like, Kevin, I'm getting ready to leave. I'll see you in a bit. And I was trying to find him so that I could, give him a kiss goodbye. And I saw that his sneakers, they were still in the living room. So he hadn't left yet to go on his morning walk. And so I'm looking all around the house trying to find him. Well, I found him, okay? I found him in the bathroom, sitting on the toilet, almost unresponsive. And I remember gathering myself together and looking at him and lifting up his head and say, Kevin, do you hear me? And I looked in his eyes and it looked as if he was not even there. So I remember calling the paramedics and calling the ambulance to come. And within 7 minutes, we had the police, we had the fire trucks, we had the EMS. They were all outside of our house. And they came in and they took his blood pressure, and it was through the roof. And so they had to get him, transport him out of the house. And at the time, the way our house was situated, it was a bit of a chore for them to get him out of the bathroom and into the ambulance. But they get him to the hospital and come to find out that he had had a stroke. He'd suffered a brain bleed. And for the next 4 or 5 months, he lay in the hospital with a tube coming from his head as they were draining blood and fluid. And all during that time, he was saying not a word. But I spent every single day right there at the hospital playing worship music, playing Miles Monroe, Gloria Copeland, Kenneth Hagin, Kenneth Copeland, you name it, Creflo Dollar, you name it. That's what we heard day in and day out. And thank God that on May 6th of 2020, my husband made his exit home. However, that was just the beginning of our journey. Because at that point, I now became his 100% caregiver. The one who made sure that he got to his doctor's appointments, made sure that he ate his food, made sure he exercised. And what challenged us was when he first came home, I just knew my husband loves me. He's going to do everything he's supposed to do because he's going to get better. And I'll not forget when I was giving him his medicine, I put it in front of him and I said, okay, Kev, take your medicine. I'm not taking that. I don't want that. And then I would put it in his mouth and I'd say, here, take your medicine. I would give him a glass of water and he would spit right back in the glass, the medicine. And I began to get a little discombobulated because I don't know what I'm doing now. And it called for me to create that new way of relating to my husband. And this is where I shared with you earlier about the things that happened in your lifetime beforehand that prepared you for this. Well, one of my first jobs was working in a nursing home with people who did not want to take their medicine.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
And I found out, oh, come on, dig up that memory. How did you get those people to take their medicine? And there it was. Where's the applesauce? Where's the pudding? And as I began to create those things and to remind myself, and I believe it was Holy Spirit that reminded me, don't you know what you did when you worked at the nursing home? How did you get
Absolutely.
them to take their medicine? So we don't take anything for granted. None of the things that we experience in our lifetime was done by mistake. There was a divine influence from our daddy God who prepared us for everything that we do today. And so now this is 2020. When we fast forward to 2025, Kevin is taking his own medicine. I can say, Kevin, go to the drawer,
Amen.
open
Amen.
up that drawer and get
Come on,
your Monday AM medicine.
Nice.
Awesome.
That is
You see,
nice.
so nothing is wasted in God's economy.
No.
And we don't take for granted the things that He has placed inside of us that truly prepare us for where we are to go. Um, I am elated and I'm thankful that I did what I did then because it's paying off now. I'm also thankful that I had prayed. Now y'all gonna get a good laugh out of this one. I had prayed before my husband ever had a stroke, before he was working so hard and he was driving an hour to and from work and working very hard as the president and CEO of Best Diamond Packaging, where he was the he and another gentleman, they did a joint venture, and now the company is 22 years young, and we are still a part of that company. We have shares in that company, but I remember I said, God, I really would like to be able to travel with my husband and to do some things with him, because he's always working and we're always doing this. Well, let me tell you, post stroke, now y'all know because y'all see up in the community where Darlene is gone for a week and she's gone for another week and she's gone. Y'all have seen it because I've
it's
gotten text from
important.
it.
It's
Yeah,
important.
That's
I've
it.
got I've gotten text from one of y'all in my messenger say, "You okay? we haven't seen you." We have traveled more
Mm,
Mm.
in the time that's past the stroke than before. We have seen more things past the stroke than we had before. You don't know what uh, your future is always going to entail.
mhm,
But I believe that as I mentioned before, as we prepare, as we make sure we get that necessary applied peace, as we dig into the things that we've done when we were younger that prepared us for where we are,
mhm,
we can take solace in we're doing what we're supposed to do in this season of our lives. And we do not lose sight that, as Renee said at the very beginning, that when her caregiving time had ceased, now it's time to move forward. You're already thinking about what is next and what's my next assignment.
mhm,
Because we all have a next assignment. We all have something that we are going to be responsible for in the days that are in front of us. So let's take um, take the time to prepare for that and to think about what's going to be in front of us and how can we continue to move forward, making sure that we are putting the mask on ourselves first, sitting with heaven, sitting with Holy Spirit, getting those divine downloads that's going to take us to our next level. I'm thankful that I get a chance to hang out with you ladies. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, Anna, Renee, and Leslie.
Thank you so
awesome.
much. That is
That's
amazing.
awesome.
Thank you. Uh, thank you so much, darling. We appreciate you. I mean, you. I hope My hope was as you started talking, I could tell that you have like that voice for the caregiver, to the caregiver, because I feel like we all like like in elementary school, the teacher has all the little kiddos sit on the floor and she sits and she reads the story and talks about whatever she's talking about. The kids are looking and like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's amazing.
yes.
Yeah, you were. I can tell that we you. I see why people would want to have, and this is for anybody that's listening also, to want to have someone like you come in and minister to the caregiver, because when you're in the thick of it, you need that. You need that word. You need that fresh word, that fresh wind to kind of just like get under your wings and encourage you, because it can be daunting. Like you said, I mean, you go into a room and you start saying, let's go to the bathroom. I can relate to that. Like, let's get dressed. It's time to go to bed. Like, I mean, you're just talking to everybody in the room. And it's so true that it is like seriously, almost surgically, you have to separate, yourself and become yourself and stay yourself. So thank you for really encouraging our hearts today, um, ladies. um,
I'd
th-
just like to, yes, thank you. As you talk about preparation, it's so important. And I call them God winks. The company required you all to do a will way before the people thought that, now that's a thing, right? But it's important. And you took on that step and moved on to the next step, which prepared you. So that was done. You got upgrades. It wasn't even that you had to rush to do it, that there was insight or forefront for the company to prepare you, because we don't think about those things. It seems daunting. It seems, oh, I don't need to do that. But you all had those steps in place when your husband became ill. The other blessing is listening to God, that you did not go, oh, he didn't respond, and I'm going to get my hair done. You went looking for him. When we are quiet enough, the Lord is speaking to us. When we are caregiving for people, for someone, I, I have many stories. I won't go into them now, but that's that's a part of the journey. We have to embrace it, and it's your walk with in everyday life. As we talk to people with, as we're doing this podcast, there are so many nuggets to use for yourself, to use for your loved ones, um, framed around caregiving. We're talking about the holidays, but pull something out and just be patient enough, silent enough to hear how God is leading you. You talked about the nap. I am one of the leaders of the NAP ministry, because I love to nap. But for caregivers, I have a neighbor. She's gotten things in place for her dad and was able to take a 2-week vacation. She's caregiving for her dad and a brother, and is married. So there are there are things that you have to do, but this is kind of her first time in a while where she could actually relax and get back, because it's so needed. So I thank you. I just thank you. It's just the your voice and how you carry it. It's just like Renee said. Yes, we're all sitting here going, "Oh, so many nuggets, so many nuggets." So thank you.
I Words are not enough to say thank you. Um, I think thank you falls short for this information that we received and the reminders. But the key for me was that loving gesture of before you walk out the door that you say goodbye. It reminds me of what I'm leaving my house. My kids they were very small, and this is after their father had passed. I normally say goodbye before I leave the house, and one day I was running extremely late and I flew out the door, and they realized I didn't say goodbye. They were very small, like 2 years old, 3 years old, and they started crying, crying. I had to be called so I could come back to the house to say goodbye. And
mm,
in that moment in time, it ingrained in me to, before I walk out the door, before I hang up with them, to always make sure that I tell them that I love them. And in those moments, we think, oh, it's not a big deal. They'll get over it. But that moment saved a life. And now that I can't never look, I mean, I look back at that and it created a new bond for me and my children. But now with this new information that you gave me, it solidifies and it confirms that these small loving gestures carry a big, powerful weight, and it saves us. It saves us every single time. It could be saving us from where we were heading and something bad is happening, or saving someone we love. And I am grateful that you shared this story because, again, the nuggets. I am that little girl on the floor in the center of the rug, and I am all ears on everything you had to say. I took notes all over. But these things that we take for granted, being our journeys, you just put so much light onto how it helped us prepare for where we are today. And that will, being forced to do a will when you didn't have to, powerful. We should have it done just because it doesn't matter if you have anything or if you have plenty, that will should be done so that that ease and that comfort is there. So, Darlene, thank you so much for this journey and thank you for sharing. And I am glad that post stroke the trips are happening because it makes it that more special. And I see the pictures you post and I see Pastor Kevin. He looks like he's having a blast. So, and to see the journey when you take your walk, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And my language has changed from today on. It's no longer we are getting dressed. It's time to get dressed. Do you feel like getting dressed? Do you want me to help you get dressed? Yes, it's no longer we. Thank you for that change of language.
Oh, that is so good. That's so great. I'm loving this. This just shows me how much we really need each other,
Yes.
and that all of our differences can really play a role in helping somebody else. That the things that Leslie's experienced, I can glean from, and the same thing with Renee and Anna. We can glean from one another and take some nuggets and say, I'm gonna put that in my bag. I'm gonna carry that. And um and I wanted to kind of speak to what's behind me. We're talking about, and I hope this is okay. Let
Yes.
me,
Yes,
Go right ahead.
absolutely.
okay. Um, eh, that book behind me, Embracing Grace. This we're talking about our stories. I had the privilege of being the visionary, and there are six, and me included, there are six stories of other caregivers who share the lessons that they learned on their journey in caregiving. And I'm telling you, listening to all of your stories, I'm like, each one is so different, but the foundation of that story is this: we did it because we love.
Mm.
Love was the thing that led us. Love was the thing that spurned us on. And even in our tiredness, our weariness, the days that, and I'll speak for me, the days I'm like, can I go another day? Can I do this one more day? I remember one time I looked at my husband and I'm thinking in my head, oh man, I'm looking forward to the day that you're just gonna be who you were. But then I sat there and again I'm like, but do I really want him to be who he was?
Mm.
Hmm.
Because I'm enjoying who he is. That just kind of hit me.
Amen.
Yeah.
I'm
Amen.
enjoying who he is.
Amen.
I make a joke and I say, I got two husbands for the price of one without having to get a divorce to do it.
I love it, love it, love it.
It's the best way.
Uh-huh.
But this
I
book
love
shares
it.
the stories of other caregivers and their journey. And when I first went to do this, I, I I felt like a little bit of Alicia. I argued with God about even doing it.
It's important though. It's important to share those stories.
Yeah,
Um, because people need to hear them.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's difficult. It is, but life is difficult.
yes,
And for the
yes,
journey that you've gone through and are going through, it's an encouragement to those. So our goal is for people to be encouraged, to know that there are um, people such as yourself that
mm,
can walk alongside you to help you get through that. And even though we frame it to caregivers, this is even you as an individual who's single.
thank you.
Who is your group of uh, to support you if something happens?
Yes,
In that preparation, what is it that you need? Who
hmm,
knows what your desires are medically, and
that's
things
right.
that you need support for? So we
That's
frame
true.
the caregiver, but it's also caring. Who said it? We're caring for ourselves in order
Yes,
to support others, right? So
correct.
caring for yourself first, so that you have the depth that you can move forward to care for others. So yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mm, mm, mm.
So this
So
brings us
delicious.
perfect timing. We're just gonna we're going to just piggyback off of everything that's already been said. And um, Darlene, you have just hit it out the park. We're so appreciative from when you started with pre-prepared. Well, there you go. That's it right there. And I want to share that in January 1st, January 10th, actually, we're going to have a workshop. We've been having workshops offline and Zoom to help people like prepare themselves, get their trust, like you said, have that conversation, or at least get their minds right so they can sit in front of a lawyer or an estate planner and get those paperwork done for themselves, for their family, for them and their spouse, whatever their family. So on January 10th, we're going to be having a workshop. People can sign up and come into the room, and we'll continue our discussion about. We've already had like a discussion about trust and your power of attorney and some of those important essential documents. If you are interested, all you need to do is go to Facebook, because we've made those workshops available to you, and the details are on in our group in Facebook. So it's the trio. Um, and you just search us out on Facebook. You'll find our group. You'll have to follow the group, but once you get in there, the video is there. The information about the essential documents are there. We've given you some additional information, some treats, some conversations that you need to have, and we've given you some guides for those conversations. And this is an ongoing conversation. It's not going to stop here. And so that is your notification officially, Dr. Darlene, Pastor, that you will be back so that we can hear your voice and you can encourage and talk to us, and continue to
Mm.
share those important insights that you have.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I
So
would love that.
we
I
got a
would
yes.
love that. I would love it. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yes, thank
great,
you.
great. So at this point, we are going to listen. We all were just like, we're just going to let the clock go. We needed to hear this today. This is, we're also believing that over the next couple days or so, caregivers and individuals, family, people that are just needing that encouragement will listen in. This is for you. We want you to know you're not alone. We know that it's the holidays, and for some people, that just the thought of it is too much. It's overwhelming. And we believe There's encouragement. We believe that we don't need to go through this by ourselves. You can call somebody, but if you can't, there is a word of encouragement out there for you. Today, we pray that you were encouraged. Your hearts were lifted up. I know for me, mine was. I'll be honest, Darlene. I'm like, is she about to start prophesying? Because you look like you were about to start. I don't know. I don't know anything about that side of you. I don't know if you do that, but you look like you were about to start saying,
I
"What I
just had to
see."
rein it in, had to rein it in. I said, wait a minute,
Okay,
wait a minute.
okay,
We only
okay,
got an hour.
It's all good.
okay. I wasn't sure. I thought that's what I was seeing, but I was like, okay, well,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
we're not afraid of it. We're not afraid of it. I mean, we need it. We need it, and we are. And I'm speaking for we the trio, but you as well. Just like there's so much out there. I mean,
Yes,
I have the Christmas tree on this picture, but I know for some people they can't even see that because it's
right.
such a hard time.
Yes,
Um, the tears are just flowing today.
yes,
So
yes.
if there's something that you can laugh about, if
Mm-hmm.
there's something that gives you some twinkle of hope, if there's
Yes.
some way that you can take a shower before you take that nap so it can be
Come on.
peaceful and a restful nap.
Yeah,
If
where's that
there's a
lavender?
Oh, yes, yes, that lavender is bomb. It does what it says it's gonna do. Get some
Mm-hmm.
a good meal, because
Yes.
even in the Bible it said a good meal and some good rest. Then
Yes.
let's talk about it.
Thank you.
It does
Hmm.
wonders. So
Yes.
and a merry heart. So get some laughter and some joy. So we're going to give like one word of final, and then we're gonna close out our session today. And we're the trio. We're just gonna go around. We'll start with Leslie at the top, and then we'll go to Dr. Darlene, and then Anna, you'll have the final word, and we're gone. We're gone today.
Okay.
Yes, thank you all. Thank you for everyone that joined. Please share this out. I hope that people found this very informative. It was a blessing to my heart. Um,
Mm.
but we need to keep ourselves at the forefront in order to be able to help somebody else. Do what you got to do for yourself. Thank you.
Well, I want to piggyback on Miss Renee. Take a nice hot shower, get those lavender bombs, put it in the corner and let it steam. And while you're in the shower, if you feel the need to cry, if you feel the need to let it loose, do that, because those tears are cleansing. As well as cleansing your body, you cleanse your mind, you cleanse your spirit. You are emotionally setting yourself free. And when it comes to eating, eat a good meal, eat something healthy, something that it will bring energy to your body. And take that rest. Rest in him, which means renew every single thought. Change the way you think, because when you change your mind, you'll change your life. Love y'all much. And
Thank you so much for these nuggets. Thank you for allowing us to have you here with us. Thank you for accepting this invitation. Um, I love when God speaks and we hear, because this information, especially in this season when it's supposed to be so full of joy, there is still full of pain. And we're not alone. Our scenarios look different, but the journey is the same. We're walking in love. We're walking with some heartache, but you don't have to be alone. You don't have to stifle the pain. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to reach out and say, I'm not okay today. It's okay to cry, like Darlene said. But when my moments came, I did not sit in it so it wouldn't last too long. And I timed myself no more than 20 minutes. Anything beyond there is a little harder to get out. Did I set a timer? No, but I made a conscience and I had a conversation with God. As I cried, it was all communication with God because I needed to free the pain, but I also needed to see the linings that were going to lead me to something better. So in this holiday season, celebrate the love that you had, the love that you have experienced, celebrate the memories, and know because it is the holiday. It's not that it's the holiday, but the reason for the season is that Jesus was born so that we could have everlasting life. And that being said, your journey is still beautiful. Your journey is still full of joy. It just lessons come and they shake us up a little bit, but you will be okay. And shoot us an email if you need to. Come on our Facebook, we watch, go to YouTube. There is a word there for you. So don't sit by yourself and do not isolate, but celebrate in any little bit of moment of joy that you have. And again, like Renee said, laugh, laugh, laugh. Thank you guys for joining us. It was a pleasure. Enjoy the holiday as much as possible. Love you.
Bye bye, everybody.
Amen. Bye bye.